Mein Name ist Armin Meiwes. Ich habe einen Mann auf dessen Wunsch hin getötet, geschlachtet und gegessen.
Armin Meiwes was a cannibal who found his victim online, got his consent to kill him, eat him, and videotape the whole thing. This story is nuts. So Armin Meiwes was born in 1961 in Germany, and he was abandoned by his dad at a really young age, right? He had a couple of half-brothers, but apparently he grew up super lonely. And he started making up these imaginary friends, and in his early days, through the movies that he was watching and the fairy tales he was reading, he started developing a bit of a taste for flesh. Yuck. So in 2001, he was working as a computer technician when he found this website called the Cannibal Cafe. And this, my friends, is the actual Wayback Machine archive of the Cannibal Cafe forum. And as you can imagine, it's the early days of the internet, right? You're able to buy crack. It's just a bunch of people pretending, having a bit of fun, and I don't think a lot of people took this sort of stuff too seriously. It was like To Catch a Predator days, bro. You sort of knew that if you messed around on the internet too much, your ass is going to be on NBC. So there's a lot of these really awkward and weird posts, but it's just people kind of being freaky, in my opinion, right? They've got some weird ones. What's this? Necro babes. Hello, sweet piggy. Yes, I will eat you up nice and slowly, enjoying every savory morsel of you. Come be my dinner. Ah, dude, this shit is whack. It's disgusting. I never in 1,000 years would actually have thought that somebody could find a genuine human being that would meet up with you on a forum like this. But it actually happened, right? So Armin Meiwes, working as a computer programmer, finds the site, and he eventually puts out an ad that's as simple as this. I'm looking for a well-built 18 to 25-year-old to be slaughtered and then consumed. Now, if I saw that, I'd be like, good luck, bro. Go watch some TV. But he actually found someone. Bernd Jürgen Armando Brandes was a 43-year-old computer engineer. And he responds, and he goes, what's up? I'm so excited. I totally do this with you, bro. I want to... So I would happily let you eat me as the last point of my life. I kid you not. And the two of them chat. They eventually get on like phone calls and shit like this. And they decide to actually go through with this. No jokes. And all of this culminated on the 9th of March, 2001. The two of them meet up at Armin's house. They kind of sit down, they have a few glasses of wine just to chill out the nerves because they're about to eat each other. And they decide to film the whole thing. This is true. There's a 4-hour videotape footage recording thing that was used as evidence throughout this whole trial. For your own sanity, please don't try and find this video online. The video itself has never been released to the public, but there are some screenshots that you can find on Reddit. I've seen them. It's gross. It's exactly what you expect. It's a dude performing surgery on another dude. Don't look at it. It's yuck. So this is kind of what went down according to testimony. They're all sat together, and in order to ease the tension, Armin had fed Brandes 20 sleeping tablets, 20, and a half bottle of schnapps. This was an effort to just relax him a little bit, but this, as you can imagine, made him super tired and super sleepy. Okay? They originally wanted Armin to bite off Brandes's boner, but then he just couldn't do it. I don't know why. His moral instincts obviously just kicked in. So he had hung up Brandes, all consensually. Remember this. None of this is illegal yet, I guess. And he takes a knife and he cuts off Brandes's wiener. And then he tries to feed it to Brandes, like feed him his own wiener. And it's apparently super chewy, very sinewy. And it's like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this wiener. It's not for me. So then what Armin decides to do is he cuts it up into smaller pieces and he fries it up in olive oil, garlic, butter, salt, and pepper. Amazing. And then they try to have some more, and apparently it was just it's still disgusting, as you can imagine, because I don't think that the piss is made to eat. So eventually, Armin looks at it and he's like, all right, man, well, we gave it a shot. We gave it a try. And then he fed it to his dog. Eventually, you've got Brandis, who's now bleeding from severe removal, okay? And he's bleeding out. So what do? Armin puts Brandis in a bath, and he goes, you're obviously going to bleed out, so enjoy. Here's a nice bath. I'll put on some Shania Twain, and you just relax, man. You relax. I'm going to go see if I can do anything with that old penis of yours. And eventually, he goes and he sits downstairs. So Armin goes and sits downstairs and he starts reading a Star Trek book. And he's obviously waiting for Brandis to now bleed out. And eventually, Brandis just doesn't bleed out. It gets to the early morning of the next day, March 10th. And he wakes up from his little slumber after reading his book. And he goes in. And Brandis is still alive. He's white and he's pale and he's bled out, right? But he's still alive. So, in an act of mercy, still consensual, Armin takes a knife and stabs Brandis in the neck, thereby actually killing him. So now he has this body, this consensual body, that he is going to be eating still. So do you know what he does? He takes the body down to his basement. He removes the head. He buries the head in his backyard because you obviously can't eat that. I mean, that would just be weird. And then he takes the rest of the body, basement, and he cuts it up into these huge different chunks of meat. Wraps it up in foil, wraps it up in cling film, stuff like that. And he puts it in his freezer. For the next 10 months, he eats pieces of this flesh. Nothing else. Obviously veggies and stuff. He's not a crazy dude. But he eats this guy's human flesh for 10 months. The way that he was caught was pretty nuts. He wanted to do it again, so he put out another ad on the same website about a year to 2 years later, saying the same thing, right? I want to eat a guy. And eventually someone picked up on it, right? And for some reason reported it to the police. And the police took note and went to his house. When they walked in, they did a bit of a search and they found just fridges of human meat. He had apparently eaten more than 20 kilograms of human flesh by the time that he was arrested. They also found that videotape, which was used as evidence and never released to the public because of the fact that it's so insanely gory and terrifying to see. So eventually, he gets put on trial, but there's this weird sort of in-between thing because, yes, he killed a guy, and there's video evidence of it, but this dude consented to it, right? Like, there's evidence of him saying, I consent to this. This is what I want. This is how I want to go. And that's exactly what Armin says as well. I haven't broken any law. Cannibalism is not illegal in Germany at this point, which to me is just mind-blowing. So eventually he gets some sort of sentence, and they go, listen, we have to charge this guy with something. He gets charged with manslaughter. He gets found guilty, and he gets put in jail for about 6 years. But then a few years later, the court system goes, we can't let this guy out, right? He's still talking about wanting to do this. Because he was still in jail. He had stopped eating meat, right? Not because he cared about animals or because he was empathetic or remorseful, but because he felt that the human flesh he had eaten was so good that he doesn't want to take a step back until he gets the chance to do that again. So it's like, bro, you can't let this guy out. He's insane, right? Eventually, they decide we have to retrial him. They retrial him, and he gets sentenced to life imprisonment. As of about 2 years ago, he is now still in jail, but he is able to be released from jail, right? In a disguise, get this, in a disguise, in a different town, to do things like shopping and look around and stuff like that. So he could be in your town, bro. Be careful if you respond to Facebook Marketplace ads. And his house was also burned down very recently in 2023 in a huge act of arson. 2 juvenile suspects burnt down the home in which all of this took place. Which, is it justified? I don't know, man. This whole story to me is cooked.